Hi guys, a few weeks back, I think it was, may only been a week or so ago, Big Clive did a video on making an adapter, 3D printing an adapter for these batteries from LIDL, Parkside. I bought these, well it would have been last year, bought a couple of them after Julian Eilert highlighted they were quite handy for a cheap source of the batteries inside them, the lithium-ion batteries. So I bought them on spec because they were in the reduced box with the intention of stripping them down and taking the batteries out. But if we do Big Clive's modification or adapter, then this bit here, which he provided the file for, we put a couple of wires in there with one of these or two of these spade ends. The spade ends go into the positive and negative of the battery, and then on the other end I'll have one of my XT60 connectors that I usually use for the radio controlled cars and boats. So that would sit in a reasonable sized boat with no problem without stripping it down and taking the batteries out of it. So that's where we're going with this. I'll put a link to Big Clive's video so you can download his file. I might even try soldering these with my LIDL soldering station. Now I bought one of these a few years back, used it for a while and then burnt it out because I was trying to run it too hot. Although it says that's its range, obviously I'd left it on the too hot for too long and it just died. I expect I could probably try and repair it, but I seriously can't be bothered. But the other day they had one of these in LIDL again, so I bought it. So unopened, untried, 48 watt, up to 500 degrees C, which should be enough to solder these. They're deceptive, they need quite a bit of heat to get the solder to flow properly on them. You just need one of them, although it's usually quite handy to have the other end of the connector there. Female and male, which one do you think is female and which one do you think is male? That's the one with the sticky out bits, even though they're in there. So those ought to be the male, and those are the ones with the holes in, so those ought to be the female. But some people argue about that. Anyway, if you put that in there to hold it steady, then when you heat these up and they move around a little bit, they should stay straight. So solder that onto there. Those don't need to be as long as that, so I'll do the other end and shorten them. And we'll do that. Sounds like my tea's ready though, so I'll stop now. Right, we'll get on with it again. It's now nearly 11:30 at night. Got the new soldering station warming up there. Got the connector sitting in my helper, which I very rarely use. I was looking at this crimp tool. Well, it's a stripper and a crimper. This was my dad's. Some people might recognise the company name on there, Sears. Harrisburg, made in the USA. Amp Incorporated. This has got to be from about 1965. I should think he probably bought these. So what's that make them? 40, about 60 years old. Or close to. So I think I can use them to crimp these on here. While we're waiting for that to warm up. I don't suppose it matters much which way round I crimp them. I reckon that's the right crimp position. It's not going to go anywhere. I could always add a solder as well, but I won't. I wasn't sure what size cable I'd got, so I bought 3 different sizes, 1.5mm, 2.5mm and 4mm. And it looks like I've got 2.5 with this bit of cable, because that just seemed to crimp on nicely. Right, so those are supposed to go in there like that. And then push them in position on the battery and then put hot glue in there just to hold them still. So we'll try that in a minute. We'll see what we can do with this end. I've got some heat shrink sitting there, held in place with a bit of tape out of the way. What usually happens when I try and do this is the heat shrink shrinks up because this gets very hot. What I didn't, or I might have said, or I may not have said, the square side is the positive and the other side is the negative. So that's the square, so that's the positive. We'll see if we can get some solder on there and do the job. I'm not sure how much this has heated up yet. It's absolutely brand new, never used. So we need to get some solder on there anyway. I don't think I've got it hot enough yet. Okay, we'll come back in a few minutes when we've warmed it up a bit more. Oh, I've only got it set to 200 there. By the time we try and do that, we'll probably want it well up. So we'll come back in a few minutes. Right, I've just started tinning it. So it looks like we're warm enough. We'll try it on here first. I'm not convinced it's hot enough, to be honest. So say last time I used this little soldering iron, or at least another one, same as this one, I ended up overheating it and killing it. Right, that has taken some solder now. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Can you still see? Yeah, just about. Yep, we're going to have to turn it right up. I do have a bigger soldering iron. We'll see if we can do it with this one. Not convinced. Because if it takes too long to heat up, then it starts melting everything else. All the way. That might have worked. Let's see how we get on the other side. Still trying to keep you so you can see what I'm doing. Making a mess of it, that's what I'm doing. Don't like the look of that. You see what I mean? These have shrunk down already because the heat is transferring up the copper wire. And that looks a little bit better. Yeah, that's hot. I don't think these are going to do very much. Because they've already shrunk down. The red one's going down. I don't think the black one's going to do much. Waste of time. What you can do is you can get some nice clips that go over here, so you don't need to worry about the heat shrink. I'm just going to fiddle with this off camera a bit, see if I can do anything with it. well, believe it or not, I was able to get it to move along. Let's turn that down before it decides it's going to kill itself. Yep, that's still okay. And the red one's nice and loose. You see people using flames to do this. Oh, I'll do that just for the sake of it. I usually just use the soldering iron. But yes, we can do it like you see everybody else do it. There we go. Shrunk down. So, we now need to have a look at the battery. As you can see, I've never opened this one. Looks like we've got to cut it open. Enough. There we go. I wonder if it's got any charge in it. Alright, the idea, you want to push them as far up there as possible so they do actually make contact. And then, as I say, put hot glue in there. And then at this end, which is open at the moment, I'll get a meter and we'll just see if we've got anything in there. Oh, I've got a meter laying over there. Don't know if this one's any good. On to DC. Oh, we've got a display. That one there. I might help if you put the display where you can see it. .89 volts. What would be a good idea would be if I charged it before we actually try and use it, but we're not going to try and use it at the moment. What I've got to do now is go and find my hot glue gun so we can fill the holes. Right, it is of course a fact of life that you'll always run out of hot glue stick just when you want to use it. Just another point, Big Clive did say make sure you push these up as far as you can, so they're as far into the contacts as possible, or connectors. And then And that should be it. Job done. You don't want to get any hot glue actually into the battery, otherwise you won't get it out again. Get the connector out. And other people suggested doing a cover to go over the top of it, just to make it neat. So we'll leave that to cool down, and that will be it. While we're waiting for the hot glue to cool down, I just thought I'd measure what the other tags are. I've got the positive connected to the battery positive on the end of my lead. So if I go on the next, so that's the positive there. If I go on the next one along, it's still measuring 19.6. That one's 19. Yeah, 19.86. 19.83. 19.67. So there's something in the middle there, but it's not what I was hoping. It's not balance leads that I can feed into my charger, into my normal LiPo charger, LiPo lithium ion, whatever. We'll just try this in reverse. I'll connect it to the negative instead of the positive. So going back the other way, we should be measuring negative up here. 0.06. 0, and then we should get the 19 there. Yeah. So I don't know what those middle two terminals are. And without taking the battery apart, we're not going to know. It's probably cooled down enough now. So we should be able to pull this out. Yeah. And push it in. Yeah. So there you go. That's the BigClive, or BigClive.com battery adapter. Link in the video description to his video, so you can go there and get the file for printing that out. This is for the park side, but he did one for one of the other batteries that are commonly available. Job done. Just a little side issue, nothing to do with the battery adapter. I'll just take the camera out of the tripod. My solar snowman that is battery powered, he's having a little field day down there. I've no idea why. Earlier on today he was hardly moving. He just seems to have little spurts of power. I feed him on dead batteries. I just put them in there and there's usually enough to keep him going. And somehow or other, it gets going like that. And other times he's hardly moving. Thanks for watching. If you want more information, check down below in the video description. If you like this video, you might like this one up here. And if you want to subscribe, you can check out my channel over here. Up here is my latest video on my channel, and down here is a video playlist associated with the video you've just watched. Thanks again for watching.